Today, we plunge headlong into the labyrinth and enigma of time loops. Ever pondered the unsettling thought of being ensnared in an everlasting temporal cycle? Buckle up, because today, we aim to unravel the mind-twisting realities and possibilities that surround this subject. Time, often likened to a relentless river, seems forever bound by its innate nature to flow in one direction, from the past, through the present, and into the future. It governs our biological rhythms, the aging of stars, and even the decay of atoms. We structure our lives around it, marking milestones and setting deadlines. But within this paradigm lies an unsettling question: what if this flow could be disrupted or, even more intriguingly, reversed? For many of us, time weighs heavily on our psyche. It serves as a constant reminder of our mortality, our unfulfilled ambitions, and the relentless nature of change. It's a ticking clock that we can neither pause nor reset. Now, imagine this weight becoming a loop, an ever-revolving carousel that imprisons us in a particular moment or sequence of events. The emotional toll could be both horrifying and enlightening, forcing us to confront fears, regrets, and unresolved questions in a seemingly unending cycle. We generally accept the linearity of time as an unshakable truth. Seasons change, organisms evolve, civilizations rise and fall, all in a linear progression. But what if this is merely an illusion, a human construct born out of our limited comprehension? Time loops throw this assumption into disarray. If we could find ourselves trapped in a specific slice of time, then the very concept of past, present, and future begins to blur, challenging our fundamental understanding of reality. The science behind the manipulation or distortion of time has been a hot topic within various scientific communities. String theory, quantum mechanics, and the theory of relativity all offer tantalizing glimpses into the malleable nature of time. Some theories even suggest the existence of parallel universes where time may behave differently. If time loops do exist, they could potentially be gateways or vortexes into these parallel worlds, offering a rich tapestry of realities that are both enchanting and perplexing. Time loops are a staple in various forms of storytelling, from literature to cinema. They often serve as metaphors for existential angst, human folly, or the karmic cycle of actions and consequences. In Dante's Inferno, the concept of eternal repetition serves as a form of divine punishment. Meanwhile, in modern films like Groundhog Day, the time loop becomes a tool for character development, personal growth, and ultimately, redemption. Time loops could also introduce complex ethical dilemmas. Would actions carry any moral weight if everything is destined to reset? Would it be a paradise for hedonists, a nightmare for the ethical purist, or a purgatory for the indecisive? The ethical framework that governs our daily decisions could unravel, making each loop both an opportunity and a curse. The phenomenon of time loops has penetrated far deeper into our culture than merely serving as a narrative device in speculative fiction. It has become a mirror reflecting our collective hopes, fears, and philosophical quandaries. Through the varying lenses of literature, cinema, art, and even folklore, the concept of time loops provides us with intriguing perspectives on life's fundamental questions. Writers and filmmakers wield this concept as a versatile tool to explore themes like existential despair, the human condition, and the nature of choice. Take, for instance, Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, where the characters find themselves in an eternal cycle of waiting, an abstract time loop of sorts. Similarly, in the works of Jorge Luis Borges, time loops and labyrinths often serve as metaphors for human existence's perplexing and cyclical nature. These influential texts have shaped scholarly discourse, inspiring countless essays and academic debates. Films like Groundhog Day, Edge of Tomorrow, and Source Code have popularized the concept of time loops for mass audiences. These films often delve into questions of morality, self-improvement, and even socio-political themes. For example, Edge of Tomorrow uses the time loop to explore themes of war, sacrifice, and camaraderie. The audience is encouraged to ponder what they would do when faced with an unbreakable cycle of life and death, thereby illuminating deeper aspects of human behavior and ethics. Phrases like "it's Groundhog Day" have entered the colloquial lexicon, often used to describe repetitive and monotonous situations. Time loops have also found their way into other artistic expressions like music and visual arts. For example, certain compositions in experimental music employ looping techniques to create an aural experience of timelessness or repetition. Visual artists use recurring motifs to represent cyclical concepts, evoking the feeling of being caught in a loop. Various philosophical traditions, from Stoicism to existentialism to Eastern philosophies, have grappled with the nature of time and the idea of cyclical existence. The digital realm has also been a fertile ground for exploring time loops. Video games like The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask or Outer Wilds incorporate the idea into their core gameplay mechanics, giving players a lived experience of what it might feel like to be trapped in a temporal cycle. Imagine the disconcerting experience of being trapped within an inescapable time loop, where the boundaries between past, present, and future blur into an indistinct continuum. The concept of time loops, where time appears to fold back on itself, has intrigued scientists, philosophers, and dreamers alike for centuries. One of the foundational theories in understanding time loops is Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. According to this theory, time is relative, and its flow can be influenced by factors like gravity and velocity. Time dilation, a concept stemming from this theory, suggests that time can pass differently for two observers in different gravitational fields or traveling at different speeds. In the context of time loops, this theory raises the possibility that certain conditions, like extreme gravitational forces or cosmic phenomena, could distort time, creating loops or time warps. Quantum mechanics, the branch of physics that deals with the behavior of subatomic particles, introduces intriguing possibilities for time loops. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics propose the existence of parallel universes, where every possible outcome of an event occurs in a separate reality. In this framework, time loops could be a consequence of events converging and diverging across these parallel universes, causing an individual to experience a recurrent loop. Wormholes, hypothetical tunnels in space-time, have long captured the imagination of scientists and science fiction enthusiasts. If stable wormholes were to exist, they could potentially connect different points in time and space. The concept of traversing a wormhole could lead to time loops or time travel experiences, allowing individuals to revisit specific moments in history or their own past. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics proposes that every possible quantum outcome of an event occurs in a separate branch of the universe, effectively creating a multitude of parallel worlds. In this framework, time loops could be the result of a conscious observer shifting between these parallel realities, experiencing variations of the same event repeatedly. Certain cosmic phenomena, such as black holes and white holes, are known to warp space-time significantly. While black holes are often associated with the idea of time dilation and potential time loops, white holes, which are theoretical counterparts to black holes, could theoretically eject matter and information into the past or another universe, potentially causing time loops or unusual temporal phenomena. Temporal paradoxes, such as the famous grandfather paradox, challenge the consistency of time travel and time loops. These paradoxes involve situations where an action in the past could potentially alter the future in a way that contradicts the original action. Resolving such paradoxes is a critical aspect of understanding the mechanics of time loops and time travel. The concept of time loops has roots in ancient myths and folklore. In Hinduism, the concept of samsara reflects a cyclical nature of existence, where souls are trapped in a recurring cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Similarly, ancient Greek mythologies allude to eternal punishments in the underworld, where individuals are condemned to replay their actions indefinitely, bearing the weight of their choices. Medieval legends are replete with tales of temporal entrapment. The legend of the Flying Dutchman, a ghost ship doomed to sail the seas for eternity, echoes the theme of a never-ending journey. In contemporary times, accounts of temporal trapping have not waned. Reports of déjà vu, where individuals feel like they are reliving a moment, are common. Some claim to have experienced entire days or even years as if they were stuck in a loop, with each repetition feeling as vivid as the first. These experiences challenge our understanding of time and raise questions about the brain's ability to create a sense of temporal displacement. One notable case is that of Robert Franks, an American student who claimed to have experienced time loops during his travels in Europe in the early 20th century. Franks reported feeling caught in a repeating sequence of events, where he would visit the same locations, meet the same people, and engage in identical conversations. This case, documented in Frank's personal diaries, remains a perplexing account of temporal entrapment. Studies on déjà vu and temporal lobe epilepsy suggest that glitches in the brain's temporal processing may lead to the sensation of reliving moments, contributing to the intriguing nature of time loops. In the realm of quantum physics, the phenomenon of quantum entanglement raises the possibility of interconnected particles sharing information instantaneously across vast distances. Some theorists propose that if this entanglement could occur on a macroscopic scale, it might explain experiences of temporal trapping, where information is seemingly transmitted across time loops. The idea of time travel and temporal trapping has been a central theme in science fiction literature. The fictional works of H.G. Wells, Isaac Asimov, and Philip K. Dick have explored the intricacies of time loops and the paradoxes that arise from altering one's past. These narratives challenge our perception of causality and the malleability of time. From ancient myths to modern scientific inquiries, the enigma of temporal entrapment continues to intrigue and perplex, beckoning us to explore the boundaries of time and consciousness. In the early stages of a time loop, the individual often grapples with the weight of repetition. Every action, every choice, every encounter feels hauntingly familiar. This overwhelming déjà vu becomes a constant reminder of their predicament, leading to a sense of entrapment and frustration. One of the paradoxes of time loops is the illusion of control. With each repetition, the individual accumulates knowledge and experience, giving them a unique advantage. This newfound awareness can lead to experimentation, as they try different approaches to alter the course of events. However, it's this very experimentation that underscores the limitations of their agency. Some choices, it seems, are fixed, and no amount of knowledge can change them. As the realization of their predicament sets in, a sense of desperation takes hold. The individual becomes obsessed with finding a way out, scouring every detail of their temporal prison for clues or anomalies that might offer an escape route. This quest becomes all-encompassing, blurring the line between determination and madness. The concept of time loops carries profound philosophical implications that reach deep into the core of human thought and inquiry. It challenges some of our most fundamental assumptions about existence, consciousness, free will, and the nature of reality. One of the most immediate philosophical implications of time loops is the challenge to our perception of linear time. In everyday life, we experience time as a continuous, irreversible flow from past to present to future. Time loops disrupt this conventional understanding, suggesting that past events can be revisited and altered, blurring the boundaries between cause and effect. Time loops raise questions about fate and determinism. If events can repeat endlessly, does this imply that everything is preordained, and our choices are illusory? Philosophers have debated the concept of determinism for centuries, and time loops add another layer to this ongoing discourse, forcing us to consider whether we can truly break free from a predetermined path. If our choices seem predetermined or bound by the cycle, does it absolve us of moral responsibility for our actions? Or does it magnify the significance of our choices, as each repetition offers a chance for moral growth, redemption, or a deeper understanding of the consequences of our decisions? Time loops challenge our understanding of personal identity. If we experience multiple versions of ourselves across different loops, which one is the true self? Are we a continuous, unchanging entity, or does our identity evolve and shift with each iteration? These questions dive into the heart of philosophical debates on the self and personal identity. Some interpretations of time loops suggest the existence of parallel realities or multiverses, where each loop represents a different branch of existence. Time loops invite us to contemplate the implications of living in a multiverse where our choices spawn divergent realities. In the face of seemingly endless repetition, individuals trapped in time loops often grapple with the question of meaning and purpose. The idea of time loops can challenge our notions of progress and growth. If time loops reset events, is there any true progress, or are we merely running in circles? Philosophers have explored the concept of progress throughout history, and time loops force us to reconsider whether progress is an inherent part of existence or an illusion. Time loops also intersect with inquiries into the nature of consciousness. Does consciousness transcend the temporal boundaries of a loop, or is it bound by the confines of each repetition? This invites contemplation about the relationship between consciousness and time, a subject that has intrigued philosophers and scientists alike. The idea of an eternal return, where events repeat infinitely, is a recurring theme in philosophy. Thinkers like Friedrich Nietzsche explored this concept, suggesting that we must embrace the idea of living our lives repeatedly. Time loops provide a modern and tangible context for exploring Nietzsche's ideas, pushing us to confront the challenges and opportunities of such a notion. Amid the chaos of repetition, moments of self-reflection emerge. The individual is forced to confront their flaws, regrets, and unresolved issues. They may find themselves reevaluating their life choices and seeking redemption for past mistakes. The time loop becomes a crucible for personal growth and self-discovery. This thirst for knowledge extends to a deeper understanding of the mechanics of the time loop itself, exploring its origins and potential weaknesses. The ethical landscape within a time loop can be murky. As they repeat their actions, the individual must grapple with moral dilemmas. Is it ethical to manipulate others when they are unaware of the temporal cycle? What responsibilities do they have to the people they encounter repeatedly? These questions add layers of complexity to the struggle for liberation. Breaking free from a time loop often comes at a cost. It may require self-sacrifice or extraordinary acts of courage. The individual may need to make choices that defy their instincts or challenge their beliefs. These acts of sacrifice can lead to redemption, transforming the character's arc from one of entrapment to one of heroic liberation. Ultimately, the struggle for liberation is fraught with uncertainty. There are no guarantees of success. The individual may experience countless failures and setbacks, each loop ending in frustration. The enigmatic nature of time loops continues to captivate the imagination of scientists, researchers, and enthusiasts alike. In recent years, neuroscientific investigations have delved into the mechanisms underlying experiences that resemble time loops, such as déjà vu. Researchers employ advanced brain imaging techniques to study neural activity during these episodes. Understanding how the brain processes and distorts temporal information is crucial to deciphering the subjective nature of time loops. Psychologists are exploring the psychological aspects of time loops, focusing on how they impact an individual's mental health and perception of reality. Experimental physicists continue to explore the fundamental principles of time, space, and causality. Some experiments aim to create conditions that simulate time loops, such as manipulating the flow of light or particles to observe their behavior in controlled environments. These experiments may shed light on the feasibility of creating artificial time loops. Theoretical physicists delve into the implications of quantum mechanics and multiverse theories on time loops. They explore how phenomena like quantum entanglement or branching parallel universes could theoretically lead to experiences resembling time loops. These investigations bridge the gap between cutting-edge physics and the metaphysical aspects of temporal entrapment. Researchers in the field of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning are using computational models to simulate and analyze time loops. By creating virtual environments and algorithms that mimic temporal distortions, they aim to understand the behavioral patterns and decision-making processes of individuals trapped within time loops. Therapists and counselors are exploring how experiences resembling time loops impact mental health. They develop therapeutic approaches to help individuals cope with the psychological challenges posed by temporal entrapment. These therapeutic interventions aim to alleviate anxiety, depression, and feelings of helplessness. Advancements in virtual reality, VR, technology have enabled researchers to create immersive simulations of time loops. These simulations provide a controlled environment for studying human behavior, decision-making, and emotional responses within temporal loops. Insights from VR experiments can inform our understanding of how individuals might react in real-life time loop scenarios. Increasingly, interdisciplinary collaborations are emerging as researchers from various fields come together to explore time loops comprehensively. These collaborations integrate expertise from neuroscience, physics, philosophy, psychology, and computer science, fostering a holistic approach to investigating this complex phenomenon. The allure of time loops extends beyond the scientific and academic realms. Science communicators, writers, and filmmakers play a vital role in engaging the public's interest and imagination. They explore time loop scenarios in popular culture and use storytelling as a medium to provoke thought and discussion about the mysteries of time. Thank you for taking this awe-inspiring journey with us through the labyrinth of time loops. If this video has sparked your curiosity, don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the inexplicable and the arcane. Until our next adventure into the great unknown, let's keep questing for answers, side by side.